Freddie Rubino here with Coffee and News, brought to you by Bean and Brew Coffee and Tea.com. Everybody loves the coffee. Everybody is saying how they love that it's organic. A lot of people are buying the flavors too, because even the flavors are less acidic and have overall less chemical additives to it. So even the flavors are better for you. But I just ordered a couple of pods. Now your kids are going to college. This is what you send them. You send them some pods. You've saved them some money. Okay, they're out late. They go out. They're studying. There's no coffee house open. Buy them the pods. I got coffee cake, which is fantastic, and I got dark roast. I also bring these on the road with me. You know the horrible ones in the hotel room? Not for me. I'll be in Punta Gorda, Florida this week, and I will be bringing my pods, baby. Okay, I know. Don't forget, the link is up there and the promo code's up there for 10% off. Let's get into basic economics. I am in no way an expert on economics, but there are basic things that you could understand about economics that could let you realize how dangerous the new tax codes are going to be. Tremendously dangerous. And you will see people on both sides talking about it and spinning it, and your head will spin. I'm going to just make it so simple what is going to change when Kamala Harris gets in, because this is what she's been saying. And it's very simple. Listen, I was in construction 37 years. I know what happens when the economy goes one way or the other. Big changes happen. She's going to change two things: the corporate tax and capital gains tax. How does that affect America? Okay, first let's do the corporate tax. The corporate tax she's going to bring from 21% to 28%. You might not think it's bad. You might think, oh, the corporations, they got to pay more. Corporations don't pay anything. Corporations make money, and anytime they get charged something, they pass it down to whoever's buying their product or whoever works for their corporation. So let me just tell you some basic economics. When you change, which is what she wants to do, the corporate tax from 21% to 28%, that 7 to 8% has to be made up somehow. Okay? The CEOs aren't going to dish it out. They get together and they say, how do we recoup the 7%? And traditionally, the largest amount of that to be made up with, that's a lot, by the way. That's 7% or 8%. It's a lot. So they have to do drastic things. And the two ways that they always do it is, first of all, layoffs. Let's get 7% of our money secured so we could pay this tax. So they lay off enough people in their corporation to make up the 7%. What happens then? Those people go on unemployment. It doesn't raise money. It takes money away out of the economy. So that's the first thing they do, lay off. And who do they lay off? You think they're laying off the bigwigs? No. This does not help the middle class or the lower class. They stop hiring and they lay off the bottom, the male guy, the guy who just started. They all go. They're all unemployed. They all have no job. Okay? That's the first thing they do. The second thing they do, if they sell something, they raise the price. Okay? Now, what this does a lot of times is, oh, I love that morning coffee. It gives them a right to make more money. The corporations, you're not hurting them. They actually will initially make more money because they're going to lay off to get the 7%, and they have a reason to up the price of their goods. If they make beans, if they make shoes, if they make cars, if they make chairs, they up the price because they say, oh, the corporate tax is up. So now they're actually making, they're paying out 7-8%. They're probably making 10% more. Okay? That's the first thing that happens. The second thing that happens, once a company, a corporation, makes money, a lot of the money they make goes towards growth. Growth. You've seen it before. You've seen where all of a sudden there's a new coffee place. Oh, look at this from Seattle, Starbucks. They're going to make money having coffee. And then the money comes in and where does the money go? Growth. They open up another Starbucks and another one. And soon enough, every 10 blocks there's a Starbucks with 15 people working for them. The growth stops. That's what they have to do for their people who are investing in their company. They cannot grow. And that stifles the economy more than anything. First of all of those stores that would have opened, if it's a grocery store, if it's a Starbucks, if it's a shoe store, if it's a clothing, whatever it is, they stop growing. Construction slows down because the 10, 20 stores they were going to open are not planned to open anymore. All the people who maintain the stores, who sweep it, who change the light bulbs, those jobs are not there. The people who actually work in the store, they're not hired. Once growth stops in any corporation, that's the economy. The economy stops. So once you raise the prices for the next 2 or 3 years, growth in any of those companies will immediately stop. Everything off the board. The people who are going to design the place, who sell the wallpaper for the place. You can just imagine how many jobs and how much comes from corporate growth. Just look at Starbucks. How many jobs to create Starbucks, to buy all the equipment, to hire all those people, to train them, to paint the place, to clean. It's just mind-boggling. Imagine now all of the corporations in the United States will not be able to grow. There will be a freeze on it, and that will kill this economy. This is basic. You go to college, it's basic economics, the first week. Okay, so this woman's in charge of the free world, and there's people saying, yay! The CEO's always going to be rich. Always, always, always. The only people that are going to suffer are the middle class and the people looking for jobs. Once the corporate tax goes down, they got so much money. Let's open up more. Let's open up 5 more CVS's. Let's do a Rite Aid. That's what they do. And the economy booms. Unemployment gets low. That's not called trickle down. That's called basic economics. The illegal immigrants that we're all paying money to so that they can live in hotels are not going to open up a Starbucks. They're not going to open up a store that employs 20 people. No. Ben Franklin says the business of America is business. We have to stay doing big business, and that's what will kill this economy. Raising the corporate tax. No more growth. Okay, so that's the one thing she said. There's a second thing she said, which is so crazy, which will destroy our economy. You think now you're in the grocery store looking at labels to see if you really need this? Wait until you see this. She is going to raise the capital gains tax. And I'll explain it to you very simple. The capital gains tax now is if you have a stock and you had it for 5 years and you sell it, you pay 20% of the interest that you made, of the money. If you have a house and you lived in it 40 years and you sell it, 20% is capital gains tax. Okay, that's what we pay now. She wants to raise it from 20% to 44%. Let me tell you what will happen. First of all, why would you buy a stock if after you make a certain amount, if you have 50,000 and you invested and you make 10,000, why would you put it in the stock market if hopefully in 5 years you make $10,000? Now you have to pay 44% of it back in tax. It doesn't pay. You can make the same money in a checking account. Okay? So, what's going to happen? Everyone will get out of the stock market. The stock market will crash harder than a teenage Chinese kid driving a car. It's going to crash, and it's going to crash fast. So, no one's going to have an incentive to be in the stock market anymore because you're going to have to pay double. So, all of that money that's going to come out of the stock market, where is it going to go? People have to invest, right? You know where it's going to go? In real estate. Even gold. If you bought gold and then the gold goes up and you sell it, you have to pay. Why would you keep your money in the stock market? Either you lose money, or if you make money, half of it goes to the government. Not to the government, to the illegals to live in a hotel. So what's going to happen? Everyone's going to pull their money out of the stock market. All your 401ks dead. All your pensions shot. They're going to put it in real estate. And then what will happen is real estate will be unaffordable to the middle class ever again. Because when billions of dollars are not worth investing in the stock market, then what's going to happen is they're going to take their money and buy real estate. And then a house that was worth $400,000 will be going for $700,000 because only the rich who have all that money will put it in that's their investment. That's what will happen. It's just so simple. No one's going to not invest. No one's just going to put it in the bank. They're going to invest. People invest. Rich people invest. Millionaires and billionaires invest. When the stock market becomes unprofitable, then it's done. Then they're going to find another place. Okay, but that's not the worst part. She is saying that, and I know some people don't understand this, so I'm gonna be very gentle with you, and everybody will understand. It's called unrealized capital gains. It's not just capital gains from a stock. It's called unrealized, which means if you buy a stock, or if your money is in your own 401k, or if you bought gold, whatever your investment is, and this year, your investment went up a few $1,000s, but you didn't sell the stock. Or if you have a house, and all of a sudden the house went up $50,000 last year, but it doesn't matter. You have a family. You're not going to sell the house for the next 30 years. It's unrealized. It went up. Even though you're not taking it, you have to still pay the tax on it. Can you imagine that you're in a house, you're just making the mortgage payment. Most people live check to check. I just make it. Now, she ups the corporate tax. Real estate prices go. Now you're sitting in a $450,000 home. All of a sudden, the real estate says, that house is worth $700,000 now. And you're like, I don't care. My kid's 4. I'm going to be living here for the next 20 years. But no. Now you owe the tax on $200,000 because it's unrealized. You didn't take it, but that's how much your investment grew. This will bankrupt the middle class. This has been tried in 5 different countries. It never worked. All it did was bankrupt people, and the middle class will disappear. The middle class will be gone. And I'm talking about any investment. Just living in your house will tax you out of that house. If your 401k, okay, your 401k starts to grow. Oh man, look at this. I have $150,000 in my 401k. Guess what? If $70,000 of that was interest, you now owe tax on that. But you don't even have it. So what do you have to do? Where do you get the money to pay that tax? You can't get the money. It is the most destructive, crazy, socialist, communist way to extract money from the masses. You see, there's millions of people coming into this country with no money that have to be housed and fed and educated and given medical. She wants to give them all free medical. The money's got to come from somewhere. It's not going to come from the super rich. They'll move their money overseas. They'll buy real estate overseas. They'll just go buy houses in Switzerland. They'll just go buy houses in Europe. They don't care. There'll always be a country that steps up like in South America and says, come over here, there'll be no tax on it. And they'll buy it up. But the middle class cannot. And what's going to happen when the houses go up 300, go up 100% or 80%? Rent will go up. Do you think the guy now who had to pay $700,000 for a $450,000 house is not going to up the rent? Or he owes $100,000 in taxes because of unrealized gains? The rent, she doesn't stay the same. The rent goes up. So this is such a disaster. When you see economists talking about this on the other side and saying, well, we're going to finally have corporations pay their fair share. They don't pay nothing. What do you think a corporation is? 5 guys in a room going, no. When they do this, they will crash the economy. They will crash investments. They will crash the stock exchange. And the middle class is the only ones who suffer. The poor are poor. They don't have money. The poor don't own anything. They're just going to get money from the government. The rich are going to always be rich. They put their money in an account and listen, what does the rich guy give a shit? If his $20 million are now no more investment, it's just in the bank for a few years. He's still going to be rich. The middle class will disappear. I'm telling you, it's just basic economics. Unrealized capital gains is the craziest and quickest way to just eliminate the middle class. It'll just be gone. There's no coming back from that. And corporate tax increase, 7-8%, will crash the economy. No more people will be employed. It's just a nightmare. A nightmare. Right now, every American middle class is paying $1,500 a month more just in taxes. Just add it up. Your income tax is up. Everything you buy in food is up. Gas is up. Everything you buy, everything you do is up. You're paying $1,500 a month more just to live the same. If they do this with the taxes, we are finished. We're done. Any questions here? Freddie Rubio just laying it out. Very old school, laying it out so everybody understands what's at stake. Keith Mule says the state of Oregon plans on giving people $30,000 to buy a house. Okay, I just want to go over this one more time. They're going to give, that's another thing they say, they're going to give everyone $25,000, first-time home buyers, $25,000 for their first house. Do you know what kind of a scam that's going to create? Let me tell you what's going to happen. If I have 3 kids, I take my house, I sell my house to my kid. My kid gets $25,000 from the government. I buy the house right back the next day. My other kid goes to buy my house again. He gets $25,000. Each family. If you don't do that, you're crazy. If you don't have a house and you have 2 or 3 kids, first thing you do is every 6 months, sell your house to one of your kids. Let them get the 25, 30 grand. Everybody walks away happy. And it's perfectly legal because they're all first-time house buyers. And that's it. And they all start off life $25,000, $30,000 more. I'm from Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. I figured that out of me. As soon as I heard that, I said, oh, my God, what a scam. I could sell my house to both my kids, and they could all go. And that'll bankrupt it. Who's going to make money on that? Do you know how many first-time home buyers are going to come across that border? And they're just going to give it to them? They won't have the money for you. They don't have money for you. They don't have money for veterans. They don't have money for your kid who's in school for new school supplies. All they have is money to put illegal immigrants who just came from the jails of El Salvador and Nicaragua in hotels and giving them free medical. It's a disaster. It's the end. You guys got to vote with your head. It's not how you feel. You will be destroyed. Economically, your family will be destroyed. And you can't write off the total if it's an unrealized loss. Dan Carbonaro. See, if it's an unrealized loss, if it's the opposite, what he's saying. Let's say you in a house, $450,000, it goes down to $400,000. You can't write the $50,000 off. But if the house goes from $450,000 to $5,000, you owe taxes on the $50,000. You might owe $10,000 that year just living in your house, extra on the $1,000 a month in taxes. So that tax year, you might owe $25,000 on the taxes of your house. Understand? I know I can't survive that. No way. I can't survive it. I don't know anybody who can. You just can't. Carol Andrews, I finally caught you live. You gotta keep coming on here. They're monsters. Keith Muller, Hochul plans on raising the cost of oil, propane, natural gas, gasoline to force us to switch over to electric. Where do you think electric comes from? They burn coal to get electricity. The more electricity, the worse for the environment, unless we go nuclear, and they don't want to go nuclear because nuclear is cheap. The pockets of big business, of the oil companies, are telling them, you do not go nuclear, whatever you do. Okay? This is what I'm saying. I hope you guys learned a little bit. Anna Marie Sable, if Trump doesn't get in, we are finished. And it's true. It's true. And I hope everybody just understood what my basic economic. I hope there's somebody out there who was thinking of voting for Harris and said, and we'll just look into what I said. It's so simple. It's the simplest basic economics, these taxes. Robert Millione, another horrible thing Laughing Hyena Harris wants to do is charge people for unrealized tax on money. I just said that. Unrealized tax will destroy you. You cannot have a 401k. You might even... If you have money in your retirement, Okay, you're at work. Okay, when you retire, you're going to have a pension. It's in your pension account. Your company might say, hey, if you want a pension, you have to pay tax on your own pension. So you might be sitting there 20, 30 years into your company, and there's $1 million in your pension account because it has to last 30 years. And you might have to pay the interest on it. How are you going to do that? It's impossible. And they're going to know it's impossible. So what they're going to do is say, hey, I know you can't pay tax on $1 million, but you're going to have to pay $500 a month on it. What's fair is fair. You see where they're going? They'll have absolute power over every middle-class family, and we will be sunk. Please share this with somebody who doesn't understand how basic this is and how destructive it is. It is the final nail in the coffin of the United States of America, raising through the roof corporate taxes and capital gains tax, being unrealized or regular, or just capital gains, just even if it's regular capital gains, raised. It only destroys the middle class. I'm Freddie Rubino. I will see you in Punta Gorda, Florida, Wednesday through Saturday. It's in Port Charlotte area on the West Coast, right below Tampa. I will see you guys there. It's maybe Fort Myers area. Come out and see me. It's called Visani's Club, and I'll be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'll see you guys there. I love you guys.